What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. Finally, we have some good news for AD carries. The Fervor buff actually did something, and it seems like 7.4 is going to be a pretty decent patch for AD players. The thing is, there is a lot more than just take Fervor in your mastery page now. I wanted to make a quick video about it. I've been playing a lot of AD this patch to test stuff out, and there are things we can do to make our lives much easier, and I'm going to break that down. So first off, who does it actually apply to? What champions do I think this is going to make better now? Tristana is the first one. I think this will bring her back again, or at least make her playable. It gives her mid-game some more damage. Twitch is another one. It buffs your E and ultimate damage. I think it's going to be much better this patch, honestly. I think it could easily be top 3. Jinx and Caitlyn, more damage to cover mid-game. Lucian as well. If you build a mix of lethality and crit with Fervor, you stack it like a beast with this passive and use it amazingly well. You're using it for auto and ability damage. Ezreal, obviously, Fervor stacks are easy to get and there to use as well. And Varus, actually, it gives you better trading early and a much better team fight. Sivir, this applies on your W, which means bigger crits to everyone it bounces to, which is pretty nuts. And also Kalista, the stacks into Ren damage. The new Fervor also makes someone like Fiora incredibly pretty broken in my opinion, but this video is more focusing on the big change it has brought to AD carries. So the first thing we're going to look at is Fervor itself. Warlords was nerfed and Fervor had 2 seconds added onto its duration. The combination of these are making it much better at the moment, but the thing is, Warlords is a lazy mastery. It doesn't require you to do anything or to think in a certain way. You take damage and then you heal it back up afterwards. Fervor is the opposite in lane, at least. You now have 8 seconds between auto attacks to keep up your stacks. You auto the enemy AD once, you walk away, you wait, and then you auto again to get stack number 2. You keep that up and your damage will seriously increase, especially if you fight properly in an all-in fight. So that is the first thing. Stop being lazy and stacking in lane if you want to abuse it. Fervor is also much better mid-game. It does a ton of damage. Level 11 is still like 41 extra AD. That's more than a BF sword. One of the main complaints actually as an AD carry is you feel like you just don't do enough damage, right? But how about an extra BF sword in your inventory for a fight? That'll probably fix it. So am I saying you have to take Fervor now? No, I'm not. I'm saying it's much more damage and it's viable now. Warlords is much better sustained. Less damage, but it lets you survive a hard game, whereas Fervor is more likely to let you carry. The second thing is item components are much stronger and builds in general. The typical auto-based build at the moment is Runes into Infinity Edge, another crit item, and then Bloodthirster and Last Whisper. Infinity Edge is not that efficient first because you're paying for the crit damage increase, which you aren't really using that much with only the crit chance on the Infinity. So Fervor is a stacking mechanic though, right? Faster you get to 8 stacks, the more damage you do. It actually makes this build path even better, to be honest. It's pretty perfect for it, really. BF Sword, then Runes is a lot of attack speed. You stack Fervor quicker, which is a lot more damage. Ironically, even though you'd think champions that build Essence Reaver will be better with Fervor because they use their abilities more, so they use their AD a bit more, which is still kind of true, they stack it a lot slower, and Runes Rush champions are actually getting more benefit. This actually makes Fervor better, even though it's not anything directly to do with the mastery. It's the same with Berserker Greaves. The upgrade is very cheap attack speed onto your boots, so it's a great item if you have a reason to attack faster, which we do now. It would be better now to buy it after Runans. Now Fervor is great in general, right? But we are losing out on a bunch of life still, so if you take damage in a fight, you're stuck at that health basically. AD carry becomes 10 times harder with no life still. You have to basically avoid damage completely. So after our Infinity Edge and Runans, why not just pick up a Vampiric Scepter? It's 10% life steal for 900 gold. There are 2 things with this. So Warlord's life steal actually applies 25% for ranged champions on minions, so it's only 3.75% if you're down to 20% health. The other thing is to get 10% lifesteal from Warlords, you actually have to lose 65% of your health. So for sure, like the last 30% of your health total, Warlords is better, but overall a Vamp Scepter is actually better anyway. The other side of this is of course having Vamp on top of Warlords. It's a bit overkill mid-game, but a lot of healing. You want to finish your core items, in my opinion that is normally 2 items, and then pick up a Vamp Scepter if you're struggling with taking damage in a team fight. And if you're in a really hard lane, then Vamp will actually also help you in it. So Runans is making Fervor better. Vamp Scepter is actually a good substitution for Warlords, but also Last Whisper. Not the upgrade, just the 1300 gold part. After the buff, it now gives us 45% arm pen instead of 30%, and we're only upgrading the other parts for extra AD and the passive bonus, but we buy this really for the arm pen first and foremost anyway. So what does all of this have to do with Fervor though, right? Like we have the extra AD from Fervor and we've replaced Warlords with the 900 gold of Vamp Scepter. By the time the extra 5% from Warlords matters, which is a late game, we'll have that upgraded into a Bloodthirster or Blade the Ruined King anyway. We also have a 1300 gold answer to tanks, which number 1 makes crit builds even better anyway. Number 2 makes Fervor do more damage because it's not reduced as much by armor. And number 3, you kill tanks quicker, which means you have a less need of lifesteal versus them. The point is, it's not just the Fervor buff, it's when you put everything together and when you build all these components together, you're actually super strong. I had a Caitlyn game recently where I played versus a fed armor stacking Maokai who had a Vayne and Annie behind him. Now, normally I wouldn't be able to do anything and I'd probably have no impact. My build ended up being Runins, Infinity Edge, Boots 2, so Berserker Greaves, Last Whisper, Vamp, and then into Rapid Fire Cannon. I was actually able to get through the Maokai because of the Last Whisper, and I was able to heal up the Vayne and Annie damage from the Vamp Scepter. I guess to summarize everything together, Runins with Fervor is pretty disgusting actually. You do a lot more damage than normal and you stack it faster. Once you finish your first 2 items, your third crit item is a luxury for the highest DPS. Your Vampiric Scepter is for survival and Last Whisper is against tanks. Think of it like that. The final thing I want to touch on is the actual mastery page you probably want to use right now. Obviously it kind of depends on the game and the champion, but in general 18.0.12 is now the go-to page for AD carries for a bunch of reasons. First of all, it's because of nerfs. The cunning percentage damage was nerfed this patch anyway, so there's less reason to take it. The other side is what you get from the resolve tree. So you get 8% more effective lifesteal, which is really good, and 15% lower cooldown on your heal and flash. This is the page I'm running right now on my AD carries. This is actually even better with Warlords too if you still run it because of the 8% lifesteal increase. The summoner spell cooldown is really good though. Bot lane is kind of a party. You can flash away more often, you can heal more often, and it just gives you a bit more security in the lane phase. I know before I said this page was mainly so you can run longsword and 3 potions, which you can still do if you're rushing lethality, but it's in general just better now in my opinion. I've actually got another video planned where I'm testing some stuff that makes AD carry a lot easier to play in the lane phase and just less punishing, I guess. If you want to see that, make sure you like the video and let me know in the comments. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video though. You learned something about Fervor and it makes your life a lot easier as an AD carry, which I think if you're using it properly, it actually should. But thank you for watching, and for now, I'll leave you with the robots.